topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hi, welcome to Learning to Dance in the Rain, where we dive deeply into things that matter, uncovering insights and strategies to empower you in your journey to resilience. My motto is life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Seems like today, though, it's about learning to enjoy the snow. I just learned there was 15 inches down in southern Alabama, and I was just thankful that today the sun is shining. Have you got any? I hope that you can think about something to be thankful for. Last week we were talking about living in gratitude, and so I'm thankful for the sunshine, because I haven't seen it too much of it in the last few days. I'm your host, and I want to introduce your guest expert today. Oh, that's me. Yep, that's me, all right. And what I'm going to be talking about is the scam epidemic. Protect your money and your mind. Wow, what a topic, don't you think? Well, back in 2017, when I was scammed for the first time with a romance scammer, I called the whole process of romance scams being an epidemic. It was already on its way, I thought, to becoming a pandemic. In 2021, 19 in there, I thought, this is a global problem, and we need to do something about it. When I wrote my book first time in 18, I was upset when I realized I had lost my money. But I was also surprised when I found out that $145 million had been reported lost to scammers by only 15,000 people. That was in 17. That was now 8 years ago. And I've been watching it, and I had hoped with my book that Learning to Dance in the Rain, that I could help people avoid losing their money. And I know that it did help a few people, but apparently not enough, because in 2024, they were expecting $10.5 billion to be reported lost by just in the United States alone. $10.5 billion. Wow. I warned people back in 2018 to stop giving their money away. Stop feeding the criminals, I said. In fact, once I was practicing my speech that I was giving, and I said, stop feeding the animals. And I thought, where did that come from? And I couldn't remember what I had been doing. But then finally I says, oh yeah, I was trying to get that slogan out there, stop feeding the criminals. But I thought, how appropriate, because I consider the scammers to be, well, worse than animals. Some animals are loving, right? We're not talking about those kind. I'm talking about maybe the lions and the tigers and the bears, the big ones, and the ones that are going to hurt you, because that's what scammers do. What is a scam? I was looking up the definition just before I came on air here. And it said in the Merriam-Webster dictionary online, it said scams are fraudulent or deceptive acts or an operation. It can be an insurance scam, investment scam, romance scam, lots of kind. Um, and it's to deceive or to defraud. So, well, fraud, the word fraud keeps popping up all the time in connection with the word scam. So I thought, okay, so what does fraud mean? What, so I typed that into the UL bar, and it said deceit and trickery, intentional perversion of the truth in order to get somebody else to part with something of value or to surrender a legal right. That was one of them. The second one was a trick, an act of deceiving or misrepresenting something. And let's see here. There's a third one. Yes. A scammer is a person who is not what he or she pretends to be. That's an imposter. Here's a sentence. He claimed to be a licensed psychologist, but he turned out to be a fraud. In other words, he was pretending to be a licensed psychologist, but he was a fraud. And one who defrauds is a cheat, one that is not what it seems or what it is represents. And you know, below both the word fraud and scam came these synonyms. And some of these I had never heard of before, but these are synonyms, words that mean the same thing as fraud and or scam. The first one was bunco. I never heard of that word. Have you heard of that word? Bunco. All right. Well, that was in both lists of synonyms for fraud and for scam because they mean the same thing. Con, I had heard that word. We've heard, yeah, I've been conned or I've been fooled or whatever. A scam, that's another word. Flim flam. And hustle. Sting. Wasn't there a movie several years ago about the Sting, I think was the name of it. And that was a good movie, and it was interesting, but the two guys were trying to find some way to make money illegally. And, you know, scams, frauds are illegal. Swindle, sting in a shell game. Wow. So some of those I've never heard of before, but yeah, I learned something today myself, and I hope that you are too. Well, moving on. Here's on my phone yesterday. When I checked it out when I first woke up, it says, let's see, today is Blue Monday. That was yesterday. Today is Blue Monday. Well, I thought, well, that was kind of strange. Blue Monday, oh yeah, it was inaugural day. Okay, so did that make it a Blue Monday? Maybe for some people it did. I don't know. But anyway, some big psychologists made that third Monday in January as Blue Monday, because Blue Monday is that particular day is the most depressing day of the year. Well, yeah. I guess we can fight against it, but it was pretty kind of cloudy around here yesterday, and it could have been blue, I suppose. But today is sunny, and even though there's snow on the ground or it's snowing in the air, it's still a good day. Another thing I receive every once in a while in my emails is this letter. It's very similar to other letters I have received. And I'm going to read the letter to you so that if you get one of these, you'll know it's a fraud. It's a scam. It's somebody trying to get your money. But it says, Dear Shelby, this is Mr. Howard Hammond, President and Chief Executive Officer of City National Bank, U.S. I am glad to inform you that your compensation funds, which values the sum of $20 million, was deposited here in my bank on the 20th of April with last year with your files from the U.S. government custody. I went through your files and discovered that it has been in the U.S. government custody for a few months, and I have made every arrangement for you to start receiving your funds today with any of the payment options stated below. So you have to choose how you want your funds to be delivered or transferred to you from the three options chosen. Choose how you want to receive your funds below, and we will proceed with your request. Oh boy, $20 million. Wow. Does that ever make my heart beat faster? But then I think, look here. They want to know my online banking information. They want to know my bank deposit, what account numbers to deposit the money in. They want my full name, my address. They want my cell phone number, my email address, my age, my occupation. And below it says, we expect you to reply as soon as possible, or you can reach out to me at this email or my phone number. And then it's signed, sincerely, Mr. Howard Hammond, President and Chief Executive Office. How do I know that that's a scam? Well, if you've been listening to my other shows, number one is they want your information. They want your bank information, right? Yeah. Um, your account number and your all of that. So that's one giveaway that you have to. This was an unsolicited um, email. I didn't write the City National Bank and ask them if I had made, or I hadn't been talking to them, and I don't have an account there, and so that's another giveaway. And if I look up at the very top and I see this person's email address, which is written right there, it says the Howard Hammond, but then it's got in brackets, it's got a name that I can't even pronounce. And then it says at gmail.com. Well, I'll tell you, that's a giveaway also, because if this person was who he says he was, do you think he would have a Gmail account, a free Gmail account like I do, or like you maybe do it? I don't think so. No. Number one, he would have his personal name, Howard Hammond, at maybe citynationalbank.com or something like that. Um, there were a couple of different things in that email that tells me that is a scam and a sample of it. So if you get one similar to that, you question it also. And if you wanted to call that bank, well, you would look for another number. You definitely would not call the number that's given here, because this is going to go directly to that person or people that are working with him trying to get your money. And they're going to tell you, oh, yes, this is true. This is the right person that is able to do this for you. So what do you do with that? Well, you can I believe there's a thing on the Gmail account, or most email accounts, that you can report it as a scam, and then delete it. I got another one that was threatening me because a person wanted some money, because it said it had come into my computer. They'd hacked my computer, and they were able to see that I was looking at porn, and I was doing this and doing that. And if I didn't pay them this money, then they were going to post all of this stuff on my Facebook, and start wherever I would be, and maybe stick it on my on the show. I don't know what all they're going to do, but I don't look at porn. Maybe once or twice with my husband many, many years ago, but I didn't have this computer back then. And so that's another thing. People are just trying to get money from you no matter any way. And if you are a young person and someone is trying to uh, threaten you in this kind of way, and you are so embarrassed you don't know what to do, you got to tell somebody. Tell your counselor at school that if you trust them. Tell your parents. Um, don't don't feel that you are alone in this, because here I'm just telling you I'm been getting some of the same stuff, and I never did any of that stuff that is written in that letter. I know that. And if you see Gmail the thing is that Gmail, the email address, you can be pretty sure that it's not going to happen to you. But you know what? Talk to somebody. Go to the police and talk to them. But first, talk to somebody at school, like your counselor. Um, Talk to your parents. Start talking about it. Don't. Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong, and even if you did, everybody makes mistakes. So don't let them force you into doing something bad to yourself when you can get help from other people. Okay, so stop giving money to these animals, these criminals. That's the best advice I can give you. And then tell somebody, absolutely tell somebody. Uh, Call the FBI, uh, call your Federal Trade Commission and talk to somebody. But, uh, you know, if you don't, you're going to lose more money. The more money you give to them, the more they want. And one of the most costly scams that's going around right now is called pig butchering. That's a wonderful name, isn't it? Yep. And how would you like to be the victim of a pig butchering? I don't like that name very well. I don't like it too, but it catches attention, doesn't it? And it catches attention to a huge tragic problem in which people are losing lots and lots of money. Some have even died because of this. So even though I don't like being termed as a pig, because I was also defrauded in a pig butchering scheme. In fact, one thing led to another. Um, I was convinced to invest in bitcoins by someone I met on LinkedIn, posted a professional website, wanted to do some business with me, and he convinced me to that I could maybe earn back the money that I had lost in that first um, romance scam scheme. So I bought the bitcoins, and he then told me to put them in an account in a wallet in an investment company. And I questioned that. What's that all about? Well, you can make even more money there because they deal in gold and so on. And you will invest your money with them. And so not only will your Bitcoins grow in value, but your account will grow also because of the gold and so on that they were also investing in. Well, the trouble was it was a fake investment company. It wasn't the company that was licensed and real. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything, hardly anything about the whole Bitcoin industry. Um, my daughter and son-in-law said, no, don't get involved with Bitcoin. But guess what? I didn't listen. But anyway, So that's one of the things that has pushed this losses to scams up to $10.5 billion is this pig butchering scam. Now, that's not the only kind of scam that's out there. Um, here's a group of people that are also victims of scams, and these are the people that scammers use. They steal their pictures, their profiles, and use them to um, attract victims. And here is it says a handsome 37-year-old Marine found himself in the middle of a multi-million-dollar romance scam. Kagan Dunlap from North Carolina made a shocking discovery about 10 years ago when he found his photo was being used to con hundreds of women out of their money. The Marine started receiving unusual messages around 2016 saying his photos were being used to catfish others on dating sites across the globe. Dunlap, who has been married to his wife Riley, for 36 years old, for 4 years, has over 2 million combined followers on social media. But this hasn't stopped scammers. In fact, all his pictures and videos have given them more fuel. One scammer even made a deep fake video of him asking for money while in uniform. One time I was out hiking and I got a call from some random person in Philadelphia, he said. They said they were talking to someone claiming to be me on Pender, and it's a dating site, and they were asking them for money. I have no idea how they managed to get my telephone number, he said. The Marine first discovered someone was impersonating him um, after he posted a picture of himself in a Humvee while he was on a field operation. He didn't realize that the photo showed a trip ticket with phone numbers listed on it. A woman called one of the numbers and it happened to be a sergeant. She called him and was like, "Do you know this guy? I've been talking to him for a year and he hasn't responded to my messages," said Dunlap. The sergeant called me and was like, "Do you know this lady?" And that's when I was, "Oh, this is what's going on." Since then, Dunlap has been contacted by hundreds of women, and at one point, he was getting dozens of calls every day. I honestly couldn't tell you how many women it's been, but easily in the hundreds. Easily. It's just gross, he said. Women started tracking down his wife and his mother also. Some reached out to warn Riley that her husband was up to no good. And even when he or his wife assured the woman that they weren't actually talking to him, some wouldn't let it go. They could not accept the fact that this isn't actually happening. There was nothing anybody could say to change their mind or dissuade them. Thankfully, he and his wife have a pretty strong level of trust, and she understands that this is a thing that happens. Some women have even attacked Kagan, assuming that he was the one scamming them out of the money. He's tried stopping it, but to no avail. He said, "I was working with an organization that had a contact with somebody in Facebook fraud department who could take fake accounts down," said Dunlap. He left, though, so they haven't been able to do much since. The fake files aren't happening only to Kagan. "I've got dozens of friends that this has happened to," he said. "Anybody that I know that's ever posted pictures of themselves in uniform on the internet has been affected by this in some way. Scammers find it especially easy to keep up a military facade with all the built-in excuses." That reminds me, in my book, I give 38 different ways of identifying that the person you're talking to is probably a fraud. And a couple of them, or one of them has to do with the positions they are in. If they say they're in construction, if they are, I had one in logging industry engineer. Said way up in northern Canada someplace. that was one guy that was chatting with me. Construction, have their own business of any kind. That's another one. Engineers. These are industries that, especially if they're working for themselves. Their schedules are flexible, so they can work around a lot of and be available to chat with you just about at any time. So these are also victims of this awful industry of scams. The family of victims are also victims because, number one, if they care about their uh, mother or their father who has been scammed and has been hurt, they don't want their mom to hurt. They want their mom to be happy, or their dad to have a good life. They don't want them to have to go through something traumatic like becoming a scam victim. And also perhaps they are losing their own inheritance. If the parents have lost all their money, then they're not going to have much to leave over to the kids. So the victims, those are victims. Then we just found out a couple years ago that there's jobs scams, and many young people, graduates just getting out of school, looking for jobs, are attracted to the post of an exciting job that pays very well in a foreign country. And so they get hired for what they think is a glamorous job in a foreign country. The trouble is, when they get off the plane, there's a bus there waiting to pick them up. And they have to turn in their passports and their money and their pictures and so on. And they are assigned um, a place to live. But you know what? Their freedoms are taken away. They can't come and go as they want. And their job is to get on the phone, make those calls to possible victims and convince them to give up their money. So there's another victim. So you've got victims who lose their money. You've got their families. You've got victims of people whose pictures and profiles are stolen to attract men and women to that particular profile and start talking to them. So those people are victims. And then you have victims who are what we think of as the scammers themselves, who are being controlled by organized crime in Southeast Asia. So young adults, you must be careful. Check out those jobs. Don't just accept a job overseas and go there and then become somebody else's slave doing things you don't want to do and things that are dishonest. You will become a criminal, just like those people that are members of that crime organization. And then I know that, we lose our money. We don't think about the banks and credit cards, but they also are victims, actually. Victims, why? Well, in my case, I did a stupid thing, and I still feel guilty. I still feel bad about it. But I was manipulated, so they say it's not my fault. I was manipulated into thinking I could make the money back that I had lost in the first scam. And so I didn't have any money. So I let this man have my credit card numbers and so on. And darn it, he bought Bitcoins or whatever it was with my credit card in his name, and he got the money and charged it to my card. Now, this happened, went right up to my maximums. And the banks then, I couldn't pay it back when I discovered and ended the whole thing. It was way too much. I'm 82 years old. Then I was 79, but I live on Social Security and pensions. And it was a lot of money that he ran up because I had really good credit. But you know what? It plummeted down 200 points. My what did you call it? The credit score. And I lost my, the bank terminated my accounts with them. Um, I lost my credibility, my respect of my family. And all I was trying to do was to make enough money to earn back the money I had lost before. And, you know, I was told early on by one of the bank people, Shelby, don't talk to them anymore. You'll just lose more money. And darn if he wasn't right. So, yes. What was it I titled it? Go back to my first page here. Can't find it. But anyway, it is an epidemic. Scamming is an epidemic. $10.5 billion lost to these criminals. Who's going to pay for that eventually? Well, aren't we paying for it already? Because, wow, we used to go out to eat often, and we could have a good meal for about 20. You know, if you went to McDonald's, you could get a pretty good meal for under $10. Well, now that meal is almost double. I'm horrified. The same meal that we used to eat for like $25 is now $38. Yeah, we talk about the cost of living going up and so on, but you know what? We talk also about the deficit the government has. How many $1 trillion in debt are we there? Where is this going? It's not going to good things, that's for sure. And right now it says that these crime organizations in Southeast Asia the people there have always been what we think of as being poor. Well, now they're becoming wealthy. So as they become wealthy because we send them our money, what does that mean for us? That means we're going to become poorer. And how did I solve my problem? Well, I ended up declaring Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And I'm not bragging about it. Oh, I don't tell people about it, although now I am, but it breaks my heart. I thought I was doing very well, and it felt good to have my sister tell me about 6 years ago that they were proud of me, that how I was dealing with my new lifestyle of being a widow and so on. But that all changed once I got involved in pig butchering. So I'm advertising. You need to buy my books. Learning to Dance in the Rain was written to help people for several reasons. To help people know about this problem and warn them so that they would not become victims. They protect themselves, and the best way you can protect yourself is just to stop all communication with that person that you may have grown to love, because that's what they do. They spend so much time with you that when they're gone, oh my, it's boring and you miss them. But you were betrayed. They lied to you. They stole your money. Um, if you, my other book, my second book was, of course, called Scams, a Resource Guide. And this identifies over 100 different scams that are going around. And I tell the story of my three: the pig butchering, the romance scam, and then the third scam that was a death threat scam, in which I didn't know if it was a scam or if it was real. The police told me it was a scam, but it was scary anyway. So you really, really need to educate yourself on the different types of scams and do whatever you can to talk about it with everybody else so that they all know. Because somebody that you know is most likely being set up to be scammed right now. And so the more you talk about it, the more you're going to help people to avoid it. Here's a group of papers that I printed off of Facebook: fraud, scams, and deceptive practices. And it lists some of the frauds: the loan fraud scam, the gambling fraud scam, investment, the money cash flip, money muling and laundering fraud and scams. You know, in one of the romance scam, the guy wanted to send me some money and wanted me to put it into an account and blah blah blah. I think he wanted me to launder the money. That's what I'm thinking. Luckily I said no to that. There was another movie out a few years ago called The Mule, I believe, and oh boy, what is money? What is a money mule? Well, um, that is helping to facilitate the laundering of money, which is illegal. So you've got all of this illegal stuff. It's against the law to defraud somebody of their money. It's against the law to launder money. I don't even really know for sure exactly what that is, but we have to do something about all this. Their job frauds, scams, their debt relief scams, their credit repair fraud and scams. There's giveaways. Yeah, one of the biggest, and I is the timeshares. Oh yeah, you have free 3 nights in a hotel and a resort someplace. Okay, but you got to buy it. You got to put $200 down for it. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you have to pay for a gift or a free thing, it's not a gift and it's not free if it involves in you giving your money to them. And of course, they say, oh, you get the money back if you sit and listen to their program for an hour, which turns into 3. Um, yeah, you have counterfeit money. You have stolen goods that are being sold again and again and again. So the best thing is if somebody calls you and you don't recognize the telephone number, then don't answer it. If you get tricked into answering the phone because you were busy and you just picked it up, and one of the things I've noticed even lately that they've stopped asking me, but a lot of the times they used to say, "Can you hear me okay?" And if you say yes to that question, then you're giving them permission to talk to you again about whatever it is that they want to talk to you about. So don't go there. Save yourself a lot of trouble. Just don't answer the phone if you don't recognize the number. Now, suppose that you find out that somebody your mom or your dad or a cousin or so on, is being scammed or involved. All right, how do you approach them? Well, if you go in there with a chip on your shoulder or prejudged or thinking that they're awful, oh my goodness, you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to make the situation worse. The first thing you need to do is to assess your own mental state. Before beginning any conversation, check your own emotions and mindset. Ensure that you are prepared to give a non judgmental support to them. And if you can't do this, then you need to get a third party in there who can help you maintain a non judgmental attitude. Because, number one, you're asking them to give up something that they have put a lot of time and energy into, and emotions. They're very emotional. They believe this person to be true. And you may spot red flags right away, but you need to be careful. And with what maybe something that you can say, is there anything I can do? The main thing is be kind, keep calm, understand that this is an abuse. This person is a victim of abuse, and you need to help educate your loved one, but it's going to take time. And you may have to close bank accounts, set up new telephone numbers, emails, and so on. There's a lot involved, but you really need to know your stuff. And my books can explain it to them if they'll read it. But here's another idea. Write down yourself a speech and rehearse it so that you practice expressing your concern, and rehearse it carefully and gently so that you can deliver it in that same way. And it will probably take more than one conversation. It may take several. This is a very difficult, and both sides are going to get emotional, but you've got to control yourself. There's a 2 steps forward and 1 step back. The scammer will attempt to hinder any progress made with your loved one. And when confronted, they will manipulate the situation, portraying the intervening loved one as dishonest or evil. In other words, they're going to make you look bad to the person that you love. The best thing you can do is to get them to block that person and stop talking to them. That's the main thing that you can do. Acknowledge the relationship. This is a devastating realization when you find out that you have been betrayed by somebody that you really thought was trustworthy, someone that you were starting to love. Here are some questions that you might, other questions. Have you met this person in in real life? Let's write down the promises that this person has kept and the ones that they've broken. Let's make a list with this. Have you asked them questions and they did not reply to those questions? Have you thought about journaling this relationship, and putting down both the highs and the lows, because there are both? Have you reviewed your past texts and emails with this person to gain perspective? When I read some of the text messages that I received from this one scammer to my daughter, they sounded strange when I read them to my daughter. And my daughter says, "Mother, doesn't that sound strange?" And I said, "Yeah, it does now. But it didn't then." Over time, memories of conversations will shift or fade. making beneficial to review them for clarity. Have asked them, have you tried to identify them on been verified, or there are several different agencies that you can do some research and see if you can find anything about that person. I'll tell you, if you can't, then you know that's a scammer. Anyway, we're just about out of time, so I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed the comments today, and if you have any comments or questions that you want to ask me, just write me at Shelby Wagner Author at gmail.com. I'll be very happy to talk with you about it. Let's see. Anyway, bringing it to an end here, be careful when you're talking to someone that is being or has been scammed, because it's a very emotional situation for all of them. So thank you for listening today. And remember, someone you know is being scammed about right now. And you need to share this information, but first you need to educate yourself. So please, I'm asking you to go to Amazon.com, buy my books. Learning to Dance in the Rain is one of them, and Scams Resource Guide is the other. Educate yourself about this huge problem before you even think about, or too much about, talking to this person about what has happened to them. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It is about learning to dance in the rain. I'm your host, Shelby Wagner, and I thank you for being here today. And I thank you in advance for buying my book and for trying to make your friends and relatives more aware of this horrible epidemic that is becoming actually pandemic, because it is a worldwide problem of scams. People, bad actors, they are called, doing the bad thing of trying to steal your money from you. Just think of it. They're getting rich while you get poor. Is that really what you want to do? No, it isn't. So anyway, I'm going to say goodbye and hope to see you again next week at the same time and same station, W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV. Bye now.